Okay, so I've put up the schedule for the rest of the course, which is not long. There's not really much left. Um, so that's all out there on Moodle. Pop it up if we need to. Thought I was logged in, but I was not. So this week was chapter 11. I put out a video on, somebody asked about chapter 9 problem something. Let me find it here. Chapter 9 problems 14 and 15, a work through of those. I put that though back on week 8 because that's where chapter 9 was, and no one's watched the video yet, so I'm not sure if people could find it. So if I put answers to a question, I'm going to put it where the homework assignment, that same week the homework was, rather than the current assignment. Okay, so if you had questions about the chapter 9 problems, there's already a solutions video out there. Okay, you can go and check that one out.
That was me, so thank you.
Okay, I think 2 different people asked about that actually. So yeah, but that's where it's at. So I mean that makes more sense to me. It's with the assignment rather than with now. I've also got videos for the 2 problems from chapter 10, at least a lightweight version of those. I'm waiting for a day or so because a couple of people asked for a little more time to get those done. So rather than post the videos and then people, they haven't turned the homework in yet, I don't want to do that. So since I said people, I would give people a couple more days. Those are all ready to go. They're up on YouTube, but I haven't linked them yet. I'll link those soon. Okay. But then this week, chapter 11, then we're skipping 12 and 13. Again, if you're interested and you have time, 12 and 13 are fine chapters. It gets into the whole graphical thing that we've been avoiding. I mean, I think just we've got a lot else going on, and you guys are getting a lot thrown at you. So I thought if I could simplify and not have us do the graphical stuff, that would make more sense. Okay, so we're skipping 12 and 13. So next week we'll do 14, which is just a lot of useful tricks that we can do with the string class and with regular expressions and characters and things like that. Again, I don't think this last chapter was particularly hard compared to what we've been doing. I think we kind of maxed out on 9 and 10. I think those are the most complex problems we're going to write this class. So 11 seemed a little more straightforward, especially because we're not doing the end of that chapter. Just got real hairy, real theoretical. I don't think it's something you're gonna keep in your head. I don't think you need it at this point. So we're just gonna you can read through it if you want, but if you watch the video, you'll see that some of it I'm like, we don't care about that. Okay. And then this last on chapter 14, I think it's pretty straightforward too. It can be a little tricky, and it's like a puzzle sometimes when you're trying to get when you're trying to get the strings to do exactly what you want. It's one of those like you're doing a guessing game or a word puzzle where you have to move it one way so you can move it another way so you can move it another way. So it can be tricky in that way, but it's not conceptually difficult. Okay. I've graded the chapter 9 homework, I guess. It was 10. I'm waiting for people to get done. And it looked pretty good. I mean, I was surprised. I mean, that's a lot going on with chapter 9. And I think people, by and large, did a good job with it. So that was good. There were a lot of hundreds on that homework assignment, which is a positive step. Okay. So then after we do 14, we'll then be on to the final week of class, where the big thing becomes making sure any homework you're going to turn in is done, and making sure you get the project completed, and then studying for the final. Okay, the final. I think, unless there's a great reason not to, I think rather than giving you the option of 3 1 hour or 1 3 hour, I think I'm just going to do the 3 1 hour. I think that's going to be simpler and more straightforward. That way people won't get confused and won't fall off the deep end and other things. So the final exam will have 3 parts that can be taken independently. Okay, so each one will contain one program or one series of connected programs. You may have to write more than one class for it. Okay, but each one I will try to write it so you can do it in a half hour, but I'll give you an hour to do it in case it takes a little more time. Okay, but again, it means that you can take them separately. You can take them over several days if you want, whenever you have the time. If something goes wrong in your life, then you can not be stuck for 3 hours before you get out of there. And maybe you can refresh yourself between things a little bit. Okay. But you can't if you get done early on one, then you can't carry that time over. So each one's its own separate event. Okay, so yeah, we'll want to make sure that you time that properly and all that. And know that Moodle apparently doesn't give you any warnings, so you have to keep time yourself and give yourself 5 minutes at the end at least to upload things. But if something does go wrong, again, make sure that you email me your code immediately. I don't care what time of day or night it is. That way I know that you didn't have extra time to go work on stuff. Okay. So if you're taking the test and it finishes at 2 a.m. and you can't get your program uploaded or whatever reason, at 2 a.m. send me an email with your code. So I can, Moodle tells him when your exam was over. If I get your code right after that, I know that you didn't have any extra time. Okay. When in doubt, send me an email with your code if anything looks weird, because I can ignore it and that's fine. But if you have to go back and recreate that, then it gets messy. Okay. Then on the projects, again, you'll use the format of the Virginia Open, whatever it's called. You guys know what it's called. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, somebody was having trouble getting that form in the forums. Hopefully someone's been able to, I think it was Emily, I had an issue. Hopefully someone's been able to read that and send her the link. She said it was down for maintenance or something. I don't know. I don't know where she was. I'm not familiar with that site at all. The assignment for the final project's out there. And the first thing is to make sure that you've posted in the forum from this week, kind of what you're planning on doing. Everybody can look at that. You can comment on others. People have already made some, you may want to try this. Here's a resource, lots of sharing going on, which is a good thing. Okay, so I'm happy to see that. And that's part of your final assignment. So it's not optional. You have to post something on that forum, just so I know what's going on. And then
I don't know how I missed that, but on your video today, when you were going over it, I thought, oh, I don't know how I missed that last week.
It a lot going on in all of our lives, so that happens. Yeah, not really. When I go to grade, it's when it needs to be there. So if it's not there now, it's not the end of the world. Certainly, it can't really be late anytime soon. But I think it's an important part of the process. If the assignment looks funny, again, I know my stuff. I don't know your stuff. If I'm asking you something that's weird, or it could be phrased better, or it could be shifted slightly to make it make more sense and more practical for you, let me know. I'm perfectly open to those discussions. I'm not the expert in how to teach your students, so or how you have to go about doing things. I can only imagine. I have nightmares about it, especially middle school kids. They frighten me. I didn't like myself as a middle school kid, and I can't imagine. Little kids are cute. Older kids, at least you can kind of deal with on a near adult level. That middle school, whew, they go crazy. So yeah. And I've left a lot of latitude on that project. I want it to be a useful thing. This has been a hard class for me in that I wanted to teach it like we teach it to our students, and I had to come around to that's not the point of these classes. Exactly, we're not saying it's an equivalent thing, which we've talked about before. So I feel better about that. I feel better about not being quite so tough as I may have been before, just because it's a different focus than what I have to, as a professional, be able to certify what they're asking me to certify. If they're asking me to certify that you're at the level of a college student taking this course, that's a different bar than saying you're at the level where you could teach your students something. So I think it makes sense now. For a while, I'm like, I don't know why some people are in here. I didn't know what the criteria was. Again, I wasn't involved until it was all said and done. And I think if we could have had more meetings before COVID came along, this would have been explained more. But COVID hit right in the middle of the planning, and I think Karen and I both. I mean, she may know more than I do. I don't know, but we've been mostly like just trying to make it up as we go as to what we think you guys need. So hopefully that will improve as we go along. Okay. So again, I think this was an easy week, so you may not have a lot of questions, but let me know, what questions do you have? And not everybody was here. I do have the chapter 9 help for 14 and 15. The video's up there, but it's back on week 8 because that's where chapter 9 homework was. So I think Barbie and Dana both asked about that. So I do have that video up. I have a chapter 10 video up for both problems on chapter 10, but I'm waiting because a couple people said they needed a few more days on that. So that will be up tomorrow evening, probably, would be my guess. Okay.
Did you put those in this week? The extra videos?
The chapter 9's back on week 8. Chapter 10 I haven't put up yet because they're done, but I'm waiting on people to turn the homework in. Some people ask for more time.
Okay, so the walkthroughs will be with the chapter that the problems were.
Yes, they're with the homework. They're in the same week as the homework assignment that they're helping with. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So what questions do you have?
I have a question about when you're doing the exception handling and you're doing like the try block that has more than one exception, or I guess in general, if you need more than one exception in a program, do they always need to be in one try block together, or could that be something that's separate? Like, could you have more than one, like the do while, with the try block?
Yes, you could. It depends on what you're doing. The way to think about a try block is a alarm for your code.
Right.
You're setting an alarm on a portion of your code. The catch blocks are what happens if this error happens, or this error happens, or this error happens.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the choice. You can put the whole program under a try block, under one try block, and then deal with all the exceptions at the end. Or you can break it out into multiple sections. But each try block is going to protect only the code inside of its curly brackets. Okay. And then they have to have a catch block with that. So if you have more than one, which you very well may, especially if you're dealing like with a network program, the networking issues tend to have their own try blocks. So that'll be like when you're only doing that one thing, there's a try block. So you certainly can, in a more complex program, break it up. But you can't get from one try to a catch in another try block. It's a try catch whole thing is one thing.
Yeah, like in the example in the book and like the homework that we have, both of those have two types of exceptions.
Yes.
That they have to have. So in the one in the book, they only really have one thing that they're doing. And we have to do, multiple types of operations.
Right.
And so I think I did it like 3 different ways so far. And the way that I have it right now is that I had the one try block and basically like everything, not the methods, but everything else is within the try block. And so, and then I had my 2 catches,
That's what I would do, because that way, no matter where those exceptions occur, you're covered.
Okay, because one problem that I came across was when I had it one of the other ways, and I, like my user input part, I didn't have within it.
Right.
And so then I had to add that again, to prompt it again. And so I was like, well, if I just put it inside, it'll just go ahead and prompt it.
Yes.
And I don't have to have it again.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing if you're doing a menu in a while loop. Do you ask outside the loop, or do you ask inside the loop and outside the loop? It's not a big deal if you have to ask twice, but it's certainly better if you don't have to.
But the problem that I'm having right now is that, and well, maybe it's not a problem, but it's not stopping the program. It's just automatically, like, if it'll give me my math problem and then it'll go ahead and ask me again.
Oh, you never get out.
Right.
Are you asking?
So I was thinking, should I do like a sentinel value to get out, or
you want your program to end some way? So
okay.
and I just made that program up on the fly, so it may not be well thought out. But yeah, definitely you want it to either end on its own. And if you've got that continue loop variable, just set it equal to false at some point. That's fine. Or if not, then ask them if they want to continue and give them a sentinel value. That would be okay too.
Okay.
But you don't want it to go on forever.
So if I was going to do it with the continue loop part, could I just have it, once you've achieved I don't know how I do that exactly. I might have to switch around some things, but
yeah,
you could just put in, once you have an answer, it would stop or something like that.
Yeah, or you could even do a break. Remember, a break gets you out of the loop that you're in.
Okay.
So a break would probably get you out of that do while. And remember, you don't always have to have the do while. It's only if you want it to be able to correct itself. Because in general, when you're in the try block, when an exception occurs, the try block's over. The try structure is gone. The try loop is gone, whatever you want to call it. And you go to the catch that fits, and then you go below all the catches and keep going. So there'd be no way to go back and check it again without the do while loop. Okay. In my video, I think I did it the first time without the do while loop. And then it it tells you there's an error, but you can't fix it. If you want to go back to fix it, you have to put it inside the do while loop.
Yes, so that it will prompt you again,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. If
So
not,
it will say exception and prompt at the same time.
yes. If not, I mean, it depends on the program. Maybe it's want to say, nope, we had one shot, you can't do it. Yeah, I can't imagine that would make a lot of sense. But yeah, that's the choice you're making there, whether you want to allow them to go back again or not. Okay. Other questions?
I had a question on the homework. I've just started it, so it's kind of a shell, but do we have to do a separate method for every type of arithmetic?
What did I ask you to do? I made that one up, so I don't remember. Let me look at it.
Can I share my screen?
Yep.
And so maybe I hate to take everybody's time, but
No,
I
don't
just
do
wanted
squat,
to
but
show you.
let me make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah, they should be able to.
I just want to see, and like I said, I haven't even got to the try catch block or anything, but I just wanted to, can you see my screen?
No.
I did different methods, Dana.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I've started this correctly. Now, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I plan to do this mismatch and this, so that's why I went ahead and put it. I haven't got that far yet, but see how I try to do a different method for each thing? Is that the way it should be done?
Yeah, I would think that's going to make it the most straightforward. Yeah. But
Okay, and
you
then,
don't want your variables to be the same name as your functions. That's going to give you some trouble. At 11 through 14,
oh,
you're
okay.
declaring variables that are the same exact name as your functions.
Okay, so change the name. Maybe the functions could, okay, yeah, I got it. So just change the names. And then I've got the information. Like I said, I just started. I haven't finished it all. But when I do this and I run it, let me show you what it's doing so far. If I can get it to do anything. Okay, it just does this, which I'm sure I need to put in like some percent signs. And I mean, like I said, I just started with it, but when I was playing with it yesterday, it would let me enter an integer, but it just, I was having trouble getting it to add a string. But is
Yeah,
that right to
I
put?
don't think the toString is what you want there.
Oh, okay.
I think is it next line? Does anybody remember?
Oh, yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah, there's something else
That's
to enter a string. And strings are weird.
Is that how you do it?
It's, I don't know, that doesn't like that. It's
No.
something. It's a next something.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, that should fix the issue there, because it's just kind of ignoring.
Okay.
I think you spell outline, Dana, L-I-N-E. Maybe.
I tried that and it did.
Capital L?
Maybe. Because I was a little confused because I haven't done
No.
like asking for information in a while. We've done classes. So I was like, what do I do? Okay, that gave me no error. So hopefully that's it. And I know I need to play with it and put in like percent signs and, different things. But this was just like a beginning. And okay, so we do that. And then, okay, I think I
Yeah,
got it. I just wanted to make
there's
sure
a
that I
next
was
line.
starting it correctly, having it.
Yeah, it is next line. Next line with the capital
Okay,
L,
so it's
which
next
is
line.
string. Yeah.
All right, I'll save it to Sermon. Okay, well, that's as far as I got, but I just wanted to make sure I was doing that correctly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Stop.
Well,
I can figure out how to stop sharing my.
it's
Well,
here
oh,
for
stop sharing. I did another thing.
Okay, Christina's joining, but she's stuck in limbo at the moment. That's right, we're stuck in limbo. Other questions? about either the
I don't
exception
know if,
or,
well, one of the things that I kind of wondered about when I was thinking about, having multiple exceptions in there, when I read the part about the multi-catch,
Uh-huh.
I don't really understand it.
So let's see what they were saying here.
Because it says that you can have, if the bodies of several catch blocks are identical, you can use multi-catch. So would that be like if I wanted to have a catch a certain type of exception for multiple methods and I wanted to put it separate?
No, that's if you want to, if it's, for example, the input mismatch or the an arithmetic error, but you can do the same thing no matter what, you can have the catch handle more than one thing. So
So
normally
if
we
you
do,
want it to do the same thing.
yes. So if there are 4 errors that you can have, but 3 of them you're going to handle exactly the same, you can catch all 3 into that one area. If you find yourself doing more than one catch that have the exact same guts inside of the catch, then you can combine those together. But I think
Okay.
that's a weird scenario. That's why I didn't talk about it much in the video. I don't think that comes up a lot. I mean, there may be some reason for that, but in general, I mean, usually you're going to handle things differently. So, but yeah, that's what that's all about.
Yeah, because you would at least have a different message for the user or something like that, right?
Yeah, if you're just going to throw up the message
Normally.
that comes from Java back to them, well, then I guess it wouldn't matter. But then why even specify the error? Say if there's an error, tell them what the error message is, which you can do also. So, yeah, I didn't find that super useful.
Mhm.
Any other questions about the schedule or
I
anything?
guess if you were just gonna say like error, try again or something, and you weren't gonna tell them what the error was,
Yeah, I guess, but then why even go to why bother?
right?
You know? I mean, Java is a big language. There's a lot of stuff you can do. And I think that, it's the case that pretty much whatever language you program in, you're going to find your own methods that you use all the time and other ones you don't ever use. So especially a language as complex as Java gives you lots and lots of options and ways to do things. But that just seemed like a weird, like for example, I don't ever use do whiles. I always find a way around them. I just did not know in my example because the book did, but I do something else instead. So that doesn't make it right that I do it that way, but practically speaking, the less you have to keep track of in your head. Sometimes the less tools you have, the more straightforward it is. I know that if you've got a screw and you've got 2 screwdrivers, you're okay. If my dad has like 50 screwdrivers, how do you ever know what screwdriver you want to use? But some programmers like to use all 50 screwdrivers, and I'm just going to hit the hammer personally. So. What other questions do we have?
You want us to use integers instead of doubles, correct?
For which one? The one. Yeah, I think so. I don't really care. That's not something I'm likely to get annoyed by either way.
Okay.
I think I said integers, but yeah. I'm not picky about that. What else?
Dr. Frazier,
Uh-huh.
For Thursday, do you think it would be possible if you could kind of give us an overview? I know it's going to be 8 through 14, just since you've kind of been giving us everything ahead of time.
Yep.
I don't know about everybody else, but we'll be in school the week of August 2nd. If I could finish 14 this week and maybe start studying next week.
Yeah, I mean,
So do you think maybe Thursday you could kind of give us an early, I don't know if you did it wasn't really a study guide, but you kind of went over what we needed.
Yeah, I do. I give you the option to make your own study guide basically by doing a review. Yeah, we can do that. I think that we're not going to have a full day today because there's not much in this chapter. And I think Thursday is going to be even less. So that's a good opportunity to kind of talk about, do a quick review. Yeah, I'll ask for questions first, but if people don't have questions, then I certainly don't mind giving everybody a heads up. And my internet connection apparently is unstable. So if I go away, you'll know why. I think we're getting weather down here in Johnson City. I don't know, some kind of weather. But yeah, I can do that for sure. Anything else you want to talk about?
Hey, David, can I ask a question? If I'm sorry, I came late to the game. I think I was in the wrong room.
Oh, yeah, could be.
But on the homework for this week, I mean, essentially what you're doing is basically the quotient example that you gave us and just adding in the add, multiply, and subtract, right?
That's about it. Yep.
So when you do that one, do you have to set it up in like with the scanner with the while loop to where like you have input of like, if you want to add, press 1, if you want to subtract, press 2, and then you do like I'm having trouble like figuring in my mind, like I tried to do a switch because I thought that might work.
Right. You could.
So you could use the switch.
Yeah, and it's not again, it's a program I made up because I didn't like the others and I made it quick. So it doesn't really say. I don't think that I say that you have to allow people to do it over and over. You can choose that if you want, but you don't have to. If you want to just let them do one time, they say what they want, multiplication, division, or whatever. You can have those enter integers if that's easier, and then 1 does this, 2 does that. You can have them enter the words if you want. There's a lot of flexibility. If you want to allow them to loop around, then you'll need to put a sentinel value in so it doesn't just keep asking for it. But you don't have to do that at all. You can go 1 and done is okay.
Okay, but a switch in this case would work because I tried that and I couldn't quite get it to work. I'm sure it was just something I was putting in, but that made more sense to me than trying something else.
Yeah, I mean, I think a switch, whenever you have a menu, which is in essence what we're doing, switches are always a good choice.
Okay.
But they're quirky. I think they're always quirky. Switches, we don't use them enough, at least for me. I know they're there, but I have to look up the syntax every time I use a switch.
Well, let me ask you this. When you do the exception handling, can you just do like one exception like the entire body of the switch inside the exception handling? Does that make sense?
Inside a catch or inside of the try?
Well, I guess when you
inside
do inside the try.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you could.
So you would just put the try at the front end of it and then do your switch and then do the catches at the end?
Yes. Yeah, because
Okay.
that's and Tara had that question earlier that when you were in the wrong room, but that's what the try block is. You're putting a fence around your code. You're saying this code, if there's an error that happens inside of my try block, I'm going to handle it. So you can put that fence wherever you want. I mean, do you want to cover the whole program? Sure. If it's just you're declaring variables, from where the user doesn't do any input, well, then you don't have to. I mean, you can start the try later, but it doesn't hurt one way or the other. The try just says be on guard, be looking for an exception.
And then you just put the 2 catches underneath for the arithmetic and the input mismatch.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I apologize if that was totally the same question.
No, that's okay. It happens. And sometimes people understand it the second time, they don't the first time. So it's okay. So you guys have to start back that early August, like first week of August. I feel sad for you. I've taught all summer. Well, you guys have been with me all summer. So I think I have like 8 days between the end of my summer classes and the start of fall. So that'll be fun. And if you teach high school, all those seniors that had a weird year last year, that's who I'm going to have. I've got all freshmen in the fall. So that's going to be quite the experience. They're probably all shell-shocked and weirder than normal, but we'll get through it.
We have work days starting the 2nd, and then the kids come back the 9th.
Mm.
But I worked a work day today. I was
I've been
putting
back
together
for a
some
week
new
and a half.
desks.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's that time of year.
Dr. Frazier?
Yep.
I don't know when you and the directors meet, but I know you're the last semester. And last year, we started in February.
Mhm.
I don't know about everybody else, but I don't know when I would imagine the normal semester starts in January for you all
Yes.
for spring.
It does,
Could
yes.
we start then too, so we would be finished before SOLs?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. That would be a Heather question.
Had a vote, kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how we started in February.
I'm
the
guessing
last
the
time.
reason, and I don't know the reason, but I'm guessing there's a reason. But I can certainly ask, and you can ask Heather too. I mean, she'd be open to that.
I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I just know I don't know,
I bet
stressful
it's
time
not a
of
pleasant
year.
time of the year. No, so
For us to be doing finals and stuff on top of it, I was
Yep.
just,
yep. Yeah, we'll certainly look into that. I don't have a problem either way. If it's all the same schedule, it makes it easier for me. But I guess they wanted to give me 12 weeks is why summer was so weird. That it was kind of over both summer 1 and summer 2. Because my other class is only 5 weeks. So that would have been fun, wouldn't it? This class in 5 weeks would have been fun. We'd all been crazy.
yeah.
Does anybody know when our next class starts?
It's September the 6th, I think. It's like a month. It's,
Emailed her today and it's September 13th to December 3rd.
And that's
oh,
typical,
okay.
right?
She did say, I don't have the exact spring dates, but typically we'd start the second Monday in February. So I submitted that it was brought up tonight on our call to start in January. So I'll let you know when I hear back from her.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you,
Mhm.
Kara.
So your data structure's next, is that right? And I teach algorithms? Because we were gonna do the other way around, but I think we switched it. So that'll be fun.
And you said we'd be using Python. And what about algorithms? Is there a platform that we're going to be utilizing for that? Or?
We're back to where we started, back to pencil and paper. It's a very mathy course too. Although not as mathy as it's going to be, because when I was under the assumption it had to be like it is in college, it assumes you've had calculus 1. I'm guessing a lot of you have not had calculus, or it's been a very long time since you've had calculus. So,
18 years since I had calculus.
Same here.
It's been
I'm about
16 years since I
35,
had
I was
38.
going to say how long it's been for me, girl.
5 years.
well, the good news, calculus hasn't changed any, but you know,
Yeah, but you lose it if you don't use it.
you do. So we're going to steer away from the more mathematical part of that and try to make that a more practical algorithms class. So it's going to be a different class than it is for the college students, which will be good. But yeah, I mean, we may do a little programming in there. We probably will some. It'll probably be Python would be my guess. I'm guessing that'll be most people's preference. The only problem with teaching Python as first language, students don't ever want to leave it. You teach them C++, and they're like, no, I want to do Python. And sometimes it's not always the best choice. It's often the best choice. You know, if you're going to know one language, Python's the one to know. But yeah, it's not the best for everything. So yeah, but yeah, that'll be a lot of paper and pencil work rather than programming. So be a little bit different. Other questions?
Kind of like discrete math. Like
Not-
we'll be
not near as
uploading,
intensive,
taking,
but-
scanning.
Well, I don't think it will have the mathematical symbols. So maybe it's more likely to be a word processor. So we had to take pictures there because word processors don't deal well with the math symbols. There may be a few math symbols, but in general, I think we'll be able to write out things. So we'll be typing better, more than writing. So pencil and paper is probably not correct. But it won't be a lot of programming, it'll be just a little here and there. So it's more of a how to program, how to and we've been doing algorithms the whole time, but it's more specifically, how do you move from a problem in the world into a formulation of that problem that you can have a computer do something about? And that's really what that class is about. Because computers do some things very well, they do other things really poorly. And you have to phrase a question in terms that they can understand, they can do well. Okay. Other questions? When I just
Okay,
get
this is
one
kind
homework
of going,
problem- Okay.
sorry, it's
Okay.
kind of going backward because it's related to what we were talking, what I asked about before, but
Mhm.
if you were gonna use a break to
Yes.
leave when you have the do while.
Yep.
Do you put the break before the while statement or after the while statement?
Has to be before. After the while, you're not in the while anymore.
Okay, so it would be like do this stuff.
Yep.
Break, and then it would say like while
Yeah, it would.
after.
You could even. I'm thinking. Well, I don't know, because the finally happens every time. Because you want it, and I don't know. That's gonna be the tough part there, because you can't put it in the catch. If it hits the catch, then
Outside the catch, but before the while.
that's probably where it's got to be. Yeah, because it goes after the catch when it's done with the try. So that's, yeah, it's between the end of the, that's where it's at, between the end of the last catch and the while. Yeah. But that's the same place you could set the continue loop equal to false. It's in the same exact place.
Okay, it worked there. And it's not re-asking me now.
Good,
So that was exactly what it needed.
good. I'm glad we figured that out. Anything else? I'd make a sports reference just because people do that. Guys do that, but I don't really know sports. How about that Tour de France? I did watch that. That was cool. Euro 2021? Yeah. Isn't the basketball like finals going on or something? NBA? Not a sporty guy. Okay. Why don't we call it a night then? And we'll meet again on Thursday. And if you have questions, if you work on the homework more before then, again, it's a quick one this week. You know, the homework's quick, so it's a short chapter. At this point, I'm trying to pick what is important for us to know rather than try to know everything. So, and
Hey, David.
yes,
Sorry, I know what I had a problem with when I did the switch.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to return the answer in the switch of like if you added two integers,
right.
and it kept taking it back to me saying that the public static void main string, you can't turn it in a void. It because it says void, it wouldn't return it.
Right, and that's true. You can't have a return statement if it's a void.
So how do I get around that if I were to use a switch?
It shouldn't matter if it's a switch or not.
So like I had,
Well, what are you
I
trying
have
to
like-
return to?
well,
this-
I guess within the case, like if it says like case one, so
Yeah.
if they hit a one, you want to add the two numbers.
Right.
So can I can't return.
But if you
So
set a
where do you get
variable, it's still going to have scope, right? If you say answer equal whatever, then you can get answer someplace else. You don't have to return anything. You're not leaving anywhere, so you don't have to return it.
So I just need to set up a variable and
Yeah.
then print the variable.
Yes.
Okay, that'll fix
That
it.
should be-
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You can't return if you don't go anywhere.
Well, and then I thought maybe I could just take void out, but that didn't work either.
Would it work
Okay.
if the switch was in the method rather than in the main string,
I don't.
like
But
the main function?
you need the switch to determine which method to call. So the switch has to be in the main, I think. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You could have a separate method that doesn't do anything but call the menu. So if you had
Mhm.
your main just said call the menu method, then the menu method could have whatever return type you want, and that would work. But that seems more convoluted than just setting up a variable.
Mhm.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And especially in a beginning programming class, if you're starting, well, I could do this and this and this and this and this, you're probably on the wrong path. If it's that complicated, there's probably, not always, sometimes it is that complicated, but it's good to think, is there a simpler way? Okay, anything else? Well, okay, let's call it a night. And then again, on Thursday, I'll answer any questions you have. And then if not, we'll do a quick preview of what the final is going to look like. Okay, so you can go ahead and get started to study on that. And then we'll go from there. Okay. If you see any other homework problems that you want to have, again, not all of 9 and all of 10, or all of 9 is already up there pretty much. 10 is done and it'll go up as soon as people turn the homework in. But if you need anything, if you want to see 11, for example, I don't think anybody cares. But if you do, let me know. Same thing with 14. I'll get those videos up. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll talk to you guys later then.